CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a fatal crash investigation north of London near a high school in Arva this afternoon. Police say a 17-year-old from Thorndale, was pronounced dead at the scene after the crash between the SUV she was driving and a feed truck coming the other way on Medway Road. It happened just east of Medway High School. The truck had smashed into a hydro pole, and police say that driver has minor injuries. The SUV was wrapped around a tree.
We go through a lot of collisions, and this one is definitely leaving a mark and an impact on not only officers but first responders, bystanders, a significant debris field, and it's unfortunate.
Elsewhere in Elgin County, a second fatal collision, this one on John Wise Road. This was the scene just southwest of St. Thomas. Police have not released many details there, only saying a pedestrian was hit by someone driving a pickup truck, and they have since died. At this time, the road had remained closed late this afternoon. Provincial police say they've taken one person into custody after a standoff in Exeter. They say officers were called to an apartment complex early this morning for someone in crisis. Police say the canine unit was also involved in their response. According to police, one person was taken into custody early this afternoon and no one was injured. London's Police Services Board has extended the chief's contract, keeping him on the job into next decade. As Jerry Dewan reports, both the board and the chief say there's unfinished business.
It was handshakes and hugs all around after the London Police Services Board announced the contract extension for Chief Tai Truong, which would see him holding the top job through to the end of 2031.
We've done really good things in the over 2 years that I've been here. We're nowhere near where we need to be. It's going to take a few more years for our organization to be at a really stable place.
Truong was appointed in June of 2023 and soon after launched into a campaign to grow and modernize the service under the Safer Cities banner, resulting in an unprecedented 4-year, $672 million increase for the police service. An investment board chair, Ryan Goss, continues to defend.
We know it's hard for Londoners right now. We know that we're in an affordability crisis. We understand that. But if we didn't invest now, when?
Both Truong and Mayor Josh Morgan note that $2.3 million of that funding was returned over the first 2 years of the multi-year budget and say the investment in policing has already paid dividends.
While many police services and jurisdictions went up in crime severity index, we dropped.
If you want to think about the economics of the city and how we continue to have success, you got to have public safety at the core.
During the news conference, Chief Truong was reticent to identify specific priorities for his extended term, but did admit afterwards that facilities issues, particularly an aging police headquarters, had to be near the top of the list.
Whether it's a police station, it's a substation, we need a footprint, especially in the Northwest.
Morgan says a centralized emergency services training facility proposed for South London could also ease overcrowding at headquarters, with the relocation of the firing range as a way to add additional offices or meeting rooms downtown.
It has the potential to be a regional facility, and we've got lots of partners in the region, whether they're small fire departments, our Indigenous communities, even airports, where we can actually provide services out of that facility. So if you want to get ahead of these large capital asks, you got to be creative.
The extension could see Truong reach 30 years of police service while in London. Financial details of the chief's contract were not made available, but Goss says they will be reported during the annual Sunshine List disclosures. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Flag-raising ceremonies were held in London today ahead of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. With more on the message today and tomorrow's significance, here's Rita Ismail.
The orange shirt flag was raised at Western University's Concrete Beach to the sound of the Medicine Lodge Youth Drum Group, a powerful symbol of remembrance, resilience, and the collective call for change.
We do this work not because we owe it to anybody else, but because we owe it to ourselves and the generations who will follow us. And to our non-Indigenous allies, reconciliation is not a word that you wear for one day. It is a responsibility you carry every day.
The ceremony brought together members of nearby First Nations communities, students and staff, honoring residential school survivors and urging continued progress on reconciliation.
When I look at the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action over 10 years, we have really accomplished a lot. We haven't accomplished everything, but we have accomplished a lot. For example, we've accomplished 15 for sure of the calls to action completed. That's not all of them, but that much is done.
There are 94 calls to action in total, and for many, the work is just beginning.
Truth and reconciliation is not a one-day effort. This is a day that we hold dear in our hearts as Indigenous people to remind us of the tragedies, not only the tragedies, but the strength that comes from it and how resilient our youth are being in leading our generations forward.
Participants joined in a ceremonial dance celebrating Indigenous cultures, languages, and traditions. Across the city, another moment of reflection at London City Hall. Councillors and city staff gathered for a more somber ceremony, raising the orange flag in front of the municipal building.
There was a time that none of this was done. It's really important that as a community, as elected officials, we take a stand. There was the Truth and Reconciliation report that we're aware of it, we follow it, we make strides, just not words, to make sure that we're putting actions into those words.
National Day for Truth and Reconciliation has been recognized on September 30th for the last 5 years as a way to amplify education around Indigenous history and the legacy of residential schools. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
CTV News has learned about 20 London Transit buses are being kept off the road each day because of a staffing shortage. Daryl Newcomb has more on the continuing mechanical issues and the impact for riders.
Western students are the single largest source of LTC fare revenue.
Representatives of Western University's Student Council telling the London Transit Commission about the unprecedented number of complaints they've received about bus service.
They're being skipped at their stops, they're unable to get to part-time jobs in the downtown area or campus in time.
According to the fall service update, London Transit continues to struggle recruiting enough specialized mechanics. Quote, vacancies in this employee group represent 12.5% of the workforce. Not having enough mechanics has meant 20 fewer buses on the road each day. That's forced Express Route 92 and 95 to be suspended, and 9 other routes have experienced frequency reductions. Staff say to minimize the impact, the canceled routes have alternate routes along the same corridors, and the frequency reductions are taking place on bus routes that already offer the highest frequencies.
We anticipated crowding concerns. Even if we would have had all the buses, this is just making matters a little bit worse for us.
The delivery of 34 replacement buses from the manufacturer this summer, representing 2024 and 2025 orders, has further stretched the already depleted workforce. Each of those new buses requires about 107 hours of work being fitted up with London Transit equipment prior to entering service on the road.
Hoping by mid-November we'll have all the buses that we have available out on the routes and picking up those service times that we had to drop. So hopefully in the next 2 months, earlier is obviously better, and we'll make every effort for that.
The LTC approved sharing data about overcrowding with Western's USC, as well as working together on addressing the current challenges and advocating for additional government funding.
We're very much looking forward to working with the commissioners and LTC staff on joint advocacy to all 3 levels of government to get more funding for the LTC and ultimately more funding for students and the London community.
The next meeting of the London Transit Commission is October 27th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Officials at City Hall are considering requiring landlords to protect their tenants from extreme heat. However, tenant advocates say there's a glaring loophole. Buildings without air conditioning are exempt.
The hottest, most dangerous apartments are usually older high-rises and walk-ups where AC was never installed.
A draft cooling bylaw would require landlords to keep the temperature inside apartments below 26 degrees during the summer. However, that would only apply to units that already have air conditioning. Officials with London Acorn say exempting older buildings without AC leaves vulnerable residents at risk during heat waves. The committee backed the bylaw, suggesting landlord concerns about additional costs are unfounded.
This is a minimal bylaw, and I don't see it imposing huge costs on a landlord because it's something they already would have to be in compliance with for the most part.
A multi-million-dollar federal funding announcement today awarding thousands of dollars to high-potential local businesses.
Today we announce and we celebrate potential. We celebrate talent.
London MP Peter Fragiskanos was at Tech Alliance of Southwestern Ontario announcing a $3.5 million investment. He says that money will be distributed to local startups needing a boost. More than 100 businesses will have access to $10,000 each over 3 years. Ontario's minimum wage will increase on Wednesday.
The small business sector employs staggering amounts of people, numbers of people in the private sector. And they are the least capitalized. They have the highest failure rates. I'm saying that as a former banker who lent millions of dollars to small businesses some years ago. One only has to look at the stats and see that they employ lots and lots of Canadians, over 50%, but they also have high failure rates. And so a lot of small businesses are hanging on by their fingernails. And so this is obviously wages are a big cost. And so there's always the risk that we're going to tip some of those small businesses into bankruptcy.
The 40-cent per hour raise will bring the minimum wage up to $17.60 an hour. That's a 2.3% increase. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island are also raising their minimum wages on October 1st. The federal and provincial governments are giving Canada's last independent steel producer a financial lifeline. Officials say it's about finding new markets for Algoma products, trying to be less reliant on the U.S. Rachel Aiello reports.
The federal and provincial governments are loaning this Ontario steel plant $500 million.
I think the critical part of it is it gives us the liquidity to pivot our business towards the future of Canada.
The bulk of the financial support, $400 million, is the first to come from a program Ottawa launched in March to help Canadian companies affected by Trump's tariffs. That money and the other $100 million the government of Ontario is lending is to help Algoma afford new equipment and retrain its workers, as the 50% tariff from the United States has effectively closed off what has for decades been a key market for this and other Canadian steelmakers.
If we don't have Canadian-owned steel companies, then we are vulnerable to the whims of other countries, other markets, and we can't have that.
The steel sector has already seen more than 1,000 layoffs since the trade war started.
The prospect of more is growing every day.
Both the minister and the local MPP framed the loan as an investment in Canadian industry.
We are fighting to protect a company that is truly a Canadian institution.
But the federal Conservatives said they'll be scanning the fine print.
Mark Carney is repeating the same Liberal talking points of the last 10 years, claiming that when he borrows and spends, it is an investment.
A federal official told CTV News today that Algoma is so far the only steel company in Canada to apply for this funding. Its CEO estimated today that it could take 18 months to 2 years for Algoma's plans to pivot to a domestic market to fully materialize. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Starbucks is closing hundreds of stores across North America. For customers and staff, the announcement seems to have come on short notice. With more on the reaction, here's Kamil Karamali.
Trouble brewing at this Toronto Starbucks.
I'm surprised and disappointed.
Saturday was the final day for this store.
This is a neighborhood spot, so it's kind of sad that they're closing.
On Saturday, plenty of customers here at this location on its final day, but the very next day, Sunday, the drapes pulled down, the place deserted, and the doors locked.
No! No!
Devastating coffee drinkers. Starbucks said it's closing 1% of its North American stores. That equates to roughly 400 locations, laying off around 900 non-retail employees, shutting down stores where they were unable to create the physical environment our customers and partners expect, or where we don't see a path to financial performance. Although the company did not say how many locations are closing in Canada, dozens of stores were seen shutting down across Ontario, Alberta, and BC, with employees telling CTV News they received less than a week's notice, in some case only 2 days' notice, that they would be without a job. But they did not want to speak on camera, fearing a lawsuit because they say they signed an agreement not to talk to media.
Some of them found out because on the store hours online it said closed.
Starbucks says it provides a severance package with 3 weeks pay and extended health care. The changes all part of Starbucks' billion-dollar restructuring plan after sales dropped for 6 straight quarters.
In this economy, people are questioning if they want to spend $3 or $4 for a deluxe premium coffee.
Now retail analysts say the CEO is trying to return to what used to make it so unique.
And he's going to refocus on the in-store experience for the consumer.
Starbucks says it still operates more than 18,000 locations across North America while working to improve the design of about 1,000 of those. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Thousands of Western students and alumni celebrated homecoming this weekend. With more on the festivities and the efforts to keep them safe, here's Lauren Stallone.
Thousands of Western University students gathered Saturday for the annual homecoming football game.
Just kind of trying to have the best time that I can for my last year.
The full-day event is an opportunity for students and alumni to gather, reconnect, and cheer on the Western Mustangs.
I'm just looking forward to see all the buddies who came up for the big weekend, so I think it's going to be a great time.
Mingling, we like to really socialize.
Yeah, socialize. I want to make a lot of friends, so.
We're just super excited to hang out with our friends. We live right back here, so we're just excited to celebrate. It's our last one, it's the final year, so we got to do it.
But with the excitement comes a massive gathering on Broughdale Avenue.
There's obviously a lot of fun, but there's a lot of downsides. Every time we wake up, day after HOCO, our house is a mess.
A lot happens during HOCO, so just making sure you're taking care of yourself is a big thing.
Police officers from Hamilton, Windsor, and the OPP join London officers to patrol the streets.
Although it happens every year, we work to provide mitigation and safety pieces in place to make sure everyone can enjoy themselves responsibly, but be safe at the same time.
Over the years, the city has implemented new strategies to improve safety. The newest addition, vehicle mitigation devices, a barrier designed to prevent vehicles from ramming into crowded areas.
There are some barriers in place in the middle. That's for our officers to be able to patrol back and forth without being caught up within the students.
With another homecoming now in the books, London police say safety will remain a top priority for years to come. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Rock the Park organizers have announced the country music lineup for next year. The headliner for Thursday, July 16th will be Jordan Davis. He's joined by Tucker Wetmore, Chase Matthew, and Mackenzie Carpenter. Tickets go on sale this Thursday morning. Later on CTV News, gathering in Goderich, lovers of all things V-dub. From Beetle to the buses, highlights from the annual Volkfest.
5K a day is back on 97.5 Virgin Radio. Listen to Jeff, KP, and Backstage Ben for your chance to win $5,000
every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
Strength in the technology sector helped Canada's main stock index finish higher. The TSX gained 211 points. In New York, the Dow added 69, the Nasdaq up 107. The Canadian dollar rose 1/10 cent. On commodity markets, gold moved ahead more than $45 an ounce. Oil fell almost $2.30 a barrel. President Donald Trump and his Israeli counterparts say they've agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza. Whether or not it actually leads to peace remains to be seen. But as Joy Malbon reports, it's seen as the most substantial step toward it in quite some time.
They were all smiles, confident this could be the peace plan that ends the 2-year war in Gaza and brings the hostages home.
So this is a big day, a beautiful day.
President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agreed to a 20-point peace plan.
I support your plan to end the war in Gaza, which achieves our war aims.
For Hamas, it's a take-it-or-leave-it deal. Hamas would have to give up its guns and have no role in governing Gaza. A committee of Palestinians and experts would be in charge, overseen by a Council of Peace, headed by Trump, that would redevelop Gaza. And former British Prime Minister Tony Blair would play a key role.
If Hamas rejects the deal, which is always possible, they're the only one left. But if not, as you know, Bibi, you'd have our full backing to do what you would have to do.
In exchange, Israel would withdraw from Gaza, but not completely. And within 72 hours of a ceasefire, all 20 living hostages and the remains of the dead would be released. Relatives of the hostages hopeful their nightmare could finally end.
Finally, we have a deal to end the war, the bloody war in Gaza.
The plan is a tough sell for Netanyahu, falling short of total victory and destruction of Hamas. Under the plan, members would receive amnesty once the hostages are freed.
But if Hamas rejects your plan, Mr. President, then Israel will finish the job by itself. This can be done the easy way, or it can be done the hard way. But it will be done.
In Gaza, where destruction and death happens every day, an end to the fighting can't come soon enough. Several Arab leaders are welcoming the Trump peace plan, and tonight, Hamas negotiators say they will review the proposal in good faith. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
Hi there. We've had some beautiful weather, and that continues through the week. Overnight, clear. Fog developing. Thank you to Kathy. If you're heading out for a walk with Cooper, or perhaps you can see Cooper there. Maybe Cooper's going for a swim tomorrow. It'll be a perfect day. It still feels like summer in southern Ontario. 8 o'clock, 11 degrees, but by the afternoon, mid to upper 20s. I'll take you through the forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Welcome back on the desk with Julie Atchison now, and it kind of feels like more of the same because last week it was a lot of sunshine, a lot of clear skies, warmer than temperatures we normally expect as we're getting into October now soon.
Yeah, and temperatures expected to stay on the very warm side, especially tomorrow. We'll see a bit of a dip midweek, but dry conditions continue. And looking out at the extended forecast models through October 12th, temperatures are expected to average well above normal. Today, mid-20s across southern Ontario. Last night we dipped down to 10 degrees. A repeat out there tonight. Once again, a fog developing, and first thing in the morning. Overnight lows, single digits in through Mount Forest, Kitchener-Waterloo and Wyerton, and then milder along the lakeshore from 10 to 11 degrees. And if you're near Lake Erie, about 13. High pressure over the Great Lakes, and that continues as we head through the day. Beautiful conditions for National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Lots of sunshine in the forecast and daytime highs feeling like we're in midsummer, not early fall. We do have a weak front to the north, and we have some cloud cover moving by to the south. A couple tropical storms and a hurricane, but not able to make their way onshore. So we do have Hurricane Humberto, and as we look at our tropical storm, that's going to just cruise out to sea. You can see some rainfall with it, impacting areas along coastal Florida and moving up towards the Carolinas. But for us, that system not able to move in. The cloud cover will even stay well off to the south. Our area of high pressure is steering these systems out to sea. So in terms of not being able to move inland, so keeping them offshore. High pressure continuing to bring beautiful conditions, clear, sunny, and gorgeous. It'll be a beautiful start to the day tomorrow. By noon hour, we're at 23 and the forecast high 26. Winds out of the northeast, light from 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. For your Wednesday, sunshine, and we're all the way up to 21 degrees. We'll hit 22 under a mix of sun and cloud on Thursday. Lots of sunshine on a Friday, and the weekend featuring a mix of sun and cloud, and mainly sunny on Monday. That 24 tomorrow should be a bit warmer at 26 degrees. So daytime highs over the next 7, once again, well above normal. Beautiful conditions. Midwestern Ontario, your temperature averaging anywhere from about 23 degrees. Further north, a bit cooler, anywhere from 19 to 21 through northern Grey and Bruce County, but lots of sunshine in the extended forecast. Just gorgeous weather on the way. Sunshine to a mix of sun and cloud. Daytime highs averaging, again, 26 degrees this time of year in Midwestern Ontario, normally around 18. So just beautiful conditions across the region. Mainly sunny on Monday and 23, but we stay dry. Even looking out at the forecast models, I was trying to find out when the next opportunity for rainfall. Definitely not in the next 7 to 10 days. At this point, we're going to stay extremely dry right across the region. Great for all the outdoor fun, but summer hanging on across southern Ontario. Sun-filled forecast and lots of dry weather on the way. Carlyle, back to you.
Thanks, Julie. Windy weather in Bruce County this weekend was exactly what organizers were hoping for, putting on their International Kite Festival. Organizers say some people come from all over North America for the Kites in the Field Festival in Lucknow. Dozens of kites filled the sky, some of them among the priciest you can find, custom made, worth thousands of dollars each. According to organizers, since the festival's launch 11 years ago, attendance has grown steadily.
Second year, we had about 50 people to 100, and now last year we had over 3,000 people show up. So it's been amazing to let people see what kites can do. The history of kites is phenomenal, it is. And just sit there, look up, and forget whatever they're doing, and that's just the smiles on people's faces.
Finally tonight, a weekend car show in Goderich dedicated to drivers with an appreciation for a certain German engineering. With more on Volksfest, here's Scott Miller.
Volkswagen lovers from all over Ontario converged on downtown Goderich for Volksfest, a celebration of everything Volkswagen.
I've been into them for 35 years. I've owned over a dozen of them. And just the community of people that you meet, all walks of life, and the friendships that have lasted a lifetime.
VW buses, campers, and Beetles filled Goderich's Courthouse Square for the one-day festival, which those in attendance concede is a collection of atypical car lovers.
There seem to be a different kind of breed that own Volkswagens. They have it's like a love-hate relationship because they're constantly being fixed and need this and need that.
They're like a work of like passion, and really just like an art form, really, when you're sitting underneath it for half your day trying to make it run, and you're trying to get to the festival today and it breaks down and you have some tears, but the guy behind you is a mechanic. Like it's a passion.
This is the 11th edition of Volksfest. The first 10 were spent in Bayfield, but organizers moved the VW showcase to Goderich for the first time this year.
Oh my God, how can you not love this? Look at the community around us, right? Like it's so much support. I caravan here with other vans so that if anybody breaks down, we're here for one another. It's a lot of fun. There's always good music and vendors. People love the scene.
It's got a bit of a hippie spirit to it. It's just good vibes, really.
There's a guy we were talking to earlier said, yeah, you might be home. He was talking to someone who was driving a fast car, and he says, you'll be home before I am, but I'm already home. I like that a lot.
In Goderich, Scott Miller, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.